When a game makes you throw your controller and still hit the retry button, that's when it's worth it. These games don't just challenge you, they demand everything you've got. Here are the top 20 Souls-like games that are worth full money.
Death is a certainty. So must we live with all our might.
Steelrising easily earns a place among hardcore Souls-like games that are worth full money. Set in an alternate version of the French Revolution, you play as Aegis, a deadly automaton fighting through Paris as the city burns under a mechanical army. It's dark, stylish, and has that same satisfying of learning enemy patterns and finally mastering the fight. It's worth the full price because it gives you more than just challenge. The world is well crafted with detailed streets, rooftops, and hidden corners that invite exploration. The combat feels deliberate, fast when you need it, but heavy enough to make every move matter. You can build Aegis to fit your style, using different weapons and upgrades that genuinely change how you play. If you're looking for something tough but fresh, Steelrising is a full-price purchase that won't let you down.
Aegis? The king must be stopped.
The king must be stopped.
I couldn't.
What a cute spelling stuff for about cacophony through my ears!
Oh, but our guest is here. My, what exquisite golden inlays. What masterful craftsmanship. Come, puppet, dance for us.
Enotria: The Last Song is a solid pick if you're into hardcore Souls-likes and want a game that respects the full price tag. The setting alone pulls you in. A sunlit world inspired by Italian folklore, masks that change your playstyle, and a story about breaking free from a twisted eternal play. What makes it worth the price is the detail and depth. You're not just going through the motions. Masks unlock new ways to fight, loadouts let you switch styles, and the levels reward you for taking your time. Enemies hit hard, but victory feels earned because you had to think, adapt, and explore. It's tough without being unfair, and the world has enough color and personality to stand out from decks of dark fantasy clones. If you like challenge, choices, and a game that gives back for your investment, Enotria: The Last Song is worth checking out.
These are dark times. We have few allies.
Good to see you, gal.
The odds are against us. And they will always be against us.
Now or never!
Seems our destinies are intertwined.
But I can tell you this. If there is any hope of surviving, we must stand against the darkness.
Star Wars Jedi Survivor is more than just another action game with lightsabers. It's a tough, satisfying experience that feels worth every dollar. You step into the role of Cal Kestis again, but this time the game doesn't just let you swing a lightsaber. It makes you think about when to attack, dodge, or use your force powers. What makes it worth the full price is how layered the combat is. You've got different lightsaber stances, force powers that are actually useful, and enemies that force you to think instead of just mash buttons. Add in planets to explore, hidden secrets, and a crewmate who doesn't just sit around. The whole package feels rich. The world is impressive too. Each planet you visit feels distinct and alive, with environmental puzzles and paths that reward you for looking around. Mortal Shell is a strong pick if you're into Souls-like games that actually justifies its full price tag. Right from the start, you're dropped into a dark, decaying world where you must possess the shells of defeated warriors and use their powers to survive. Why buy it at full price? Because it gives you quality over quantity. The game doesn't spread itself thin chasing big, open-world features. Instead, it offers tighter levels and combat that's more about timing and strategy than flurry attacks. That kind of focused experience feels premium. The combat is satisfying and fair. Each shell brings a different playstyle, and when you finally win after dozens of tries, it's more than just relief, it's accomplishment. If you want a Souls-like game that respects your time and investment, Mortal Shell delivers.
You seem different. Untouched by false truths. Will you pry these gifts from the unwilling? Or will you let them rot? Bring the glands back to me.
The first Berserker Khazan flips the script on what you might expect from a Souls-like. You play as Khazan, betrayed general turned Berserker in a mythic realm where your brutality becomes your power. It's not overloaded with fluff. The game lets you dive right into the action and learn through combat. What makes this game worth the full price is how much it gives you to dig into. The combat demands focus. Stamina management, timed parries, situational awareness. It's all part of earning your wins. The world and design help too. The enemy sets and architecture lean into horror fantasy mashup vibes, and every area has enough character to make you want to explore rather than power through. And when you finally beat a tough encounter, it's satisfying. If you're down for a challenge, and one built to be worth your investment, the first Berserker Khazan is a solid pick. Lies of P fits perfectly on a list of hardcore Souls-like games that are worth full money. It's the kind of game that earns your respect the longer you play. The city of Krat is drenched in atmosphere, filled with twisted puppets and hidden stories that keep you curious even while you're dying over and over again. What makes it worth the full price? Two big reasons: replay content and combat depth. First, there are multiple weapon paths, a lying/truth mechanic that changes parts of the story, and a new game plus mode once you finish, so one playthrough is just the start. Second, the combat feels tight and satisfying. You pick weapons with different builds, manage durability, parry and dodge with precision, and every boss puts your skills to the test. You're not just playing a long game, you're playing a game built to reward dedication.
Wake up, son.
Nioh 2 stands out as a hardcore Souls-like that's definitely worth every dollar. From the moment you pick your custom samurai or yokai warrior hybrid, you know you're in for something deep. The missions are brutal, the bosses are unforgiving, but the reward, in that satisfying swing of your sword or perfectly timed parry, makes it all click. So why full price? First, the amount of content is immense. Multiple DLCs, sprawling maps, tons of loot and weapon types, and a grind that never feels pointless. Second, the combat system has real depth. You're juggling stances, soul cores, yokai traits, and build variety. It's the kind of system you can dive into for hours and still find new strategies. If you're into Souls-likes and want one with a lot to offer in gameplay, challenge, and longevity, Nioh 2 is absolutely worth your time and your money. Dark Souls 3 doesn't waste time reminding you how hard it is. It just throws you in and lets you figure it out. From the first bonfire to the final boss, the game keeps that same mix of frustration and satisfaction that made the series legendary. Every enemy feels dangerous, every fight forces you to focus, and every victory feels earned. It's not the kind of game where you breeze through. You learn, adapt, and improve. That kind of long-term value makes full price feel fair. Every fight has weight. Every enemy encounter matters. Whether you're discovering secret areas, mastering a build, or uncovering the world's lore through item descriptions and environments, you're engaged. The map design is clever, and the risk-reward dynamic is real. If you want a game that challenges you and gives you an experience that sticks with you, Dark Souls 3 is a premium pick for the Souls-like genre. The Surge 2 is one of those games that quietly earns its place among great Souls-like titles. You wake up in Jericho City and everything's gone to hell. Rogue machines and people turning into something worse. The world's dark and chaotic, but that's what makes exploring it fun. It's worth the full price because it actually gives you a lot to work with. The combat system isn't just swinging weapons. You target limbs to get parts for new gear, build your own setup, and constantly improve your exosuit. The more you play, the more you realize how deep the customization goes. It's one of those games that feels better the longer you stick with it. The city itself has a nice mix of structure and freedom. Levels loop back in smart ways, connecting like puzzle pieces the deeper you go. And while the story doesn't try too hard to be profound, it keeps enough mystery to push you forward. Long Fallen Dynasty is the kind of game where spending full price actually makes you feel good. From the first time you pick up a sword, you're in this chaotic Three Kingdoms world but with a twist. Demons, magic, and fights that test you. What really seals the deal is how much game you're getting for your money. The world is massive, the variety of weapons and builds is impressive, and the enemy roster keeps things fresh instead of falling into repetition. You'll find yourself trying out new weapons, experimenting with strategies, and replaying areas just to get better. The visuals and atmosphere help too. Big battlefields, smoky skies, clashing blades. The setting blends historical epic with fantasy in a way that feels both familiar and special. It makes the tough moments memorable rather than frustrating. Code Vein is a standout among Souls-like games that are truly worth your money. The world throws you into a post-apocalyptic mix of vampires, ruin, and weird powers from the very start. You play as a Revenant, a being with vampire-like traits, trying to survive and uncover the truth. The blood code system lets you swap classes and change your build mid-game, which keeps things fresh. The combat hits that sweet spot of difficult but satisfying, and there's solid replay value built in thanks to the various builds and story branches. The atmosphere also helped the deal. The ruined cityscapes, the gothic vibe, the character designs, all of it looks like a premium product instead of a quick cash-in. If you're into the Souls-like style but want something with a little flair and uniqueness, Code Vein gives you a full, quality experience that justifies the price tag. Thymesia might not be the biggest name in the Souls-like world, but it's one you shouldn't sleep on when it comes to games worth your money. From the very start, you're thrown into this grim, plague-infested world, wielding plague powers and fighting monsters that mix swarms of enemies with huge, terrifying bosses. Nothing about it is easy, and that's exactly what gives it appeal. The game isn't trying to be something it's not. It focuses on tight levels, meaningful encounters, and a way of upgrading that rewards skill and timing instead of just spending hours grinding. Combat feels fast. Each weapon has its own identity, and when you finally take down a boss after dozens of tries, it hits hard. If you're after a Souls-like that's challenging and gives you plenty of reason to keep going without feeling stretched thin, Thymesia is worth looking into. Remnant 2 is exactly the kind of hardcore Souls-like game where paying full price feels justified. It drops you into a brutal, multi-world universe where you're fighting not just for survival, but for reality itself. The world is vast, the threats unforgiving, and you'll learn how steep the challenge really is quickly. The game doesn't hold back, which is part of why it's worth every dollar. You're not just getting one world with one way to play, you're getting multiple worlds, branching scenarios, loot systems, class archetypes, and a strong co-op focus if you want to bring a friend. Gameplay hits hard. It mixes looter-shooter mechanics with Souls-like timing and tactics. You'll aim guns, swing melee weapons, dodge, parry, and wow when a boss wrecks you. You'll feel like you should have earned that loss. Remnant 2 is an easy game to recommend. It really delivers for the price.
Eons later, the fallen god's influence pervades the world again, corrupting even sworn enemies. To join his accursed lords of the fallen and damn humanity to a new age of devastation. Though from these darkest days, new heroes arise. To defy the gods, one must embrace the darkness. And so lies our only hope.
Lords of the Fallen throws you straight into a brutal, dark fantasy world that doesn't waste time trying to ease you in. Every step feels dangerous, every fight demands focus, and the satisfaction of winning never gets old. The maps are big but well designed, full of shortcuts and secrets that make exploration rewarding. Boss fights are tough but fair, and the variety of builds and weapons keeps things fresh even on repeat runs. You can tell the game was made for players who like to dig into systems, not just play through once and move on. Visually, it's impressive. Detailed armor, haunting environments, and a tone that feels heavy without being overdone. The sound design hits hard too, making every hit, parry, and fall feel real. If you're looking for a Souls-like that offers solid replay value, Lords of the Fallen is a game that feels like money well spent. Ashen is one of those indie Souls-like games that makes you feel like your purchase actually mattered. It's not built as a massive open world with filler content. Instead, it offers a tight, meaningful journey where exploration and combat both feel challenging. What makes it feel like money well spent is how every element pulls together rather than dragging on. The exploration is meaningful. Every new zone hides something that changes how you play. Your companions matter. The town you build grows with you, and the gear you find actually feels like it updates how you take on the world. It doesn't stretch with filler. It gives you things that matter. If you're into challenging games that don't overcomplicate things and still respect your time and effort, Ashen is a smart buy.
We will live in the new light rather than just survive in the dark. This rebirth will end our wandering.
Will stay. Sisters from birth, sisters till grave. Smithies they are. Scissors they'll make. A tool for us to help us escape.
Wuchang Fallen Feathers gives you a full-priced Souls-like experience that actually earns every dollar. You take on the role of Bai Wuchang, a pirate warfare warrior in a war-torn ancient China setting mixed with supernatural elements. What makes this one worth your money? It's the depth and challenge. You've got weapons with serious weight, build options that change the way you fight, and a madness mechanic that keeps you on your toes. The game keeps rewarding the more you learn, which is exactly what you want in a Souls-like. It doesn't just throw you into the deep end and forget about you. Combat feels tight. It can be unforgiving, yes, but the wins feel real. Boss fights, enemy camps, exploring ruins and forests. You'll fall down a lot, but when you finally push through, you'll know you earned it.
Welcome home, good hunter. What is it you desire?
Yharnam is the home of blood ministration. You need only unravel its mystery. But where's an outsider like yourself to begin? Easy, with a bit of Yharnam blood of your own. Whatever happens, you may think it all a mere bad dream.
Bloodborne jumps straight into the action. You wake up in the gothic nightmare of Yharnam with nothing but a saw-like weapon and a gun, and you're expected to survive. It doesn't hold your hand. Every step feels risky, every enemy feels like a threat, and the city refuses to be tamed. What makes it worth your money is the way it delivers from start to finish. The combat is fast and punishing, but also satisfying when you land that perfect dodge or finish off a tough foe. Every weapon feels different. Every enemy has a rhythm, and beating a boss doesn't just feel good, it feels earned. Exploring Yharnam is a major part of the experience. Hidden paths, shortcuts, and tucked-away areas encourage you to dive in and dig around. If you're searching for a Souls-like game that doesn't waste time and challenges your skills, Bloodborne remains a top choice. Demon Souls Remake doesn't try to modernize the original too much. It just makes it better in every possible way. The moment you step into Boletaria, the scale, lighting, and atmosphere hit differently. Everything feels cleaner and heavier. It's still that same old brutal experience, but now it looks and sounds incredible. Why it's worth paying full price? Because everything was rebuilt with care. Bluepoint didn't just upgrade shadows and textures, they re-envisioned the whole experience for modern hardware. Combat isn't forgiving either. Every dodge, parry, and swing matters. You'll face monsters that make you stop and think. When you finally beat a boss after multiple attempts, it hits in a way that few games deliver. It's not easy, but if you're looking for a challenge that respects your time and skill, this one gets it right.
So the noble shinobi stands in our way.
It seems fate still doesn't want you dead.
Sekiro Shadows Die Twice is a game that truly belongs on the list of hardcore Souls-likes worth full price. It doesn't try to please everyone. It demands your focus, your patience, and your willingness to learn. From the first duel to the final fight, the game keeps you on edge and doesn't let up. The combat isn't just hit and dodge, it's about mastering rhythm, timing, and posture. Every enemy requires observation. Every boss demands focus. Learning how to parry and take advantage of openings isn't optional. It's what makes the game rewarding. The world design adds another layer. The setting in Ashen, the vertical traversal, the hidden areas and alternate routes all make you feel like you're exploring, not just ticking missions off a list. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice is absolutely worth every dollar.
I pray that the guidance of grace abandons you.
Why accept the burden of their grace, or be fooled by the dogmatic ramblings of the fingers? Rise with us, against the Erd Tree.
Never met someone with a taste for brawn or contrast. We'd make good mates, I reckon.
I bid thee, travel the path of the Lord. And once all is done, we shall see each other once more.
Elden Ring starts by dropping you into the lands between, with one message: go. And it's that freedom combined with deep challenge that makes this game stand out in the Souls-like genre. You're free to explore, fight, fall, rise, and do it all on your own terms. And that sense of discovery is something you'll keep returning to. What makes it worth full price? For one, the size and scope are massive, but the quality never dips. Whether you're climbing a snowy peak or fighting a giant dragon on horseback, the game consistently delivers memorable moments. On top of that, the build variety, the weapon and magic systems, and the replay value mean you're getting way more than just one campaign. It's an investment that keeps paying off. Elden Ring is absolutely top of Souls-like games worth your money.
I presume you, too, are keen to know just what kind